is Friday morning and my last morning in the Galapagos Islands. I'm a bit groggy right now because I recently just woke up and have been packing my bags. But I figured I wanted to do this video now because I don't know when I'll have downtime next in Valparaiso, and I've got a long day of traveling ahead of me. So, the Galapagos Islands are awesome. I've had a wonderful time this week exploring, and I feel like every day has had something totally new and interesting and really fun to do. So it's been like the perfect amount of time. I guess honestly I could probably even stay a couple more days if I wanted to, but I've had 4.5 days here and it's been awesome. So aside from the fact that I'm super sunburned now, where I can't even, like, it hurts to move my shoulders, and my hostel arrangement is, well, here's the hostel. So we got little stuff, some room, bed. Ow, it hurts to move. So this is the cockroach that we trapped in the bathroom and then put soap on to make sure he doesn't escape. And then here in the shower, it is freezing cold water unless you flip that red switch to turn on the electricity to heat the water. However, poor design is that when you turn on the switch, you get electrocuted, like a little shock whenever you touch the metal handle to adjust the temperature. So I've been shocked a couple times now while trying to get hot water, and I kind of eventually gave up and just took a freezing cold shower. So that's been a lot of fun staying in this hostel. Yeah, so that's, so hostel's been interesting. So aside from the sunburn and the hostel arrangements, yeah, Galapagos has been great. On the first day, literally the first, when I got here at the airport, I encountered 3 guys who are all originally from Florida, going on like a group friend vacation, and they were trying to figure out if they should take a bus or a taxi. So I approached them saying, oh, if you take a taxi, I can help you split the taxi. So I got in the taxi with them, which taxis here are like these white pickup trucks instead of regular taxis, and they kind of charge you whatever they want, which has been annoying. So taxis have been really expensive. But I went in the taxi with them to split the fare and ended up becoming friends with them. So they're Jacob, Nikhil, and Ravi. Again, they're like all friends from Florida doing the vacation together. And super nice guys. Also a little bit weird in that their sense of humor is just a bit crude, but I ended up hanging out with them actually the entire time that I was here, so they kind of just adopted me into their group, which was great. So I really honestly wasn't alone for like anything but the last day, because yesterday they went to San Cristobal, which is another island, and I stayed here every night on Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz is the kind of main inhabited island with like the city, town, which is called Puerto Ayora. So I've been staying in Puerto Ayora every night. But it's not uncommon where a lot of people will fly in, stay in Santa Cruz, and then go to San Cristobal. That's the other airport is there to fly out of. So that's what they did. But yeah, every day we would meet up and kind of go on an adventure together. And the first day we did the Charles Darwin Center, where we got to see just a ton of tortoises everywhere. Also, just not even in the Charles Darwin Center, but like tortoises are kind of everywhere. And if you're driving, like they will just be crossing the road, less in like the main town area, but when you're out further into the national park area or the other side of the mountain, they're of the island, they're everywhere, which was so awesome to just see them all over the place because they're amazing creatures. So after the Charles Darwin Center, we did a bit of hiking, and on the next day we went to Tortuga Bay, which was this beautiful beach, and did a ton of swimming, and I got too close to the rocks and ended up having a giant wave push me into the rocks. So I'm not only sunburned, I'm like incredibly bruised in a number of areas, so that wasn't my smartest moment. And on the third day, we went scuba diving off of North Seymour Point, or Island, which is like right off of our main island of Santa Cruz. Luckily, Jacob was also scuba certified. The other two had to do more of like an introductory scuba course, but we got to do 2 full tank dives. And we were buddies, so that made me feel better about not dying while scuba diving, because it's been a couple of years since I've gone. So the scuba diving was great. We saw a ton of sharks. They're these, so when I say I was swimming with the sharks, it wasn't like giant killer sharks, but these things were, they're called white-tipped sharks, and they're more like nurse shark, if you've heard of that also. So they're like the size of, I'd say actually, they're maybe just like a little bit shorter than I am, so probably like 5 feet. And they're pretty harmless. I mean, I guess I wouldn't touch one, but they kind of just hang out on the bottom of the ocean and chill. And I think at one point we saw them, like 8 or so of them just hanging out on the bottom together, but then other than that we saw them everywhere. We saw some stingrays, manta rays, a sea turtle, a ton of starfish, and just general fish and eels. And, that was really awesome. And so yeah, so we did 2 tank dives on 2 days ago, whatever. I'm getting my days confused at this point. And then yesterday I had to say goodbye to the boys because they went to the other island, and I took a boat trip to Isabella Island, which is about 2 hours away by motorboat, which actually, that motion sickness, oh man, I did not have a good boat ride over. So that was a bit rough. We got there, and Isabella, I feel like, while kind of similar to Santa Cruz, was like a totally different habitat. Like the landscape was super unique. I think Isabella is kind of what you think of when you think of the Galapagos Islands. They had at some points this crazy moon landscape. We went to this kind of like rock outcrop mini island off of Isabella called Tintoreras, and it was seriously like moon landscapes with these crazy volcanic rocks, and oh my gosh, the most beautiful snorkeling area ever. So we did snorkeling in this bay off of Tintoreras, where it was a sea turtle like nesting ground, and there were so many sea turtles to just swim around, and starfish and other fish. So I actually enjoyed the snorkeling as much as the scuba diving the day before, just because I like held my breath and dove down a bit, but was able to like go face to face with so many sea turtles just hanging out, which was wonderful. And then we got to also see blue-footed boobies and flamingos, and the sea lions like have no fear, so the sea lions just hang out everywhere. So there's these benches right along the dock of Isabella, and the sea turtles were actually just hanging out on the benches, which was so hilarious to see. They look so docile and cute when they're like sleeping on the ground, but of course you cannot touch them. So I feel like yesterday was my full dose of animal wildlife, which was wonderful. It definitely made for a long day though, because I came back and passed out by 9:30 at night. So every day has been totally action-packed, and really great. And with that, I'm going to get back to packing. I have a long day of travel ahead of me, where my ultimate end destination is Valparaiso, Chile, but requires 3 flights and a bus ride to get there, so it's going to be a long day. But the Galapagos was awesome, totally worth the trip, and I will leave you with some wonderful animal footage.